Hello everybody, we are going to be talking about whether or not you should be taking the New Jersey Devils seriously. Now before we start, please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you are new to hockey, whatever the case may be. I want to do this as a career and would love to have you here along the way if you subscribe. If not, that's fine. Anyway, let's talk about the Devils, and they are hot to start off the year. 13-3-0, they have picked up 26 out of a possible 32 points. They sit first in the Metro Division, a very, very good division, and then are second overall in league standings. On top of that, they have a 10-game win streak, which is their first 10-game win streak since the 2005-06 season. They are good. Or at least that is kind of the verdict early on. They have won 13 of their past 14 games, but do we view them as this good team? I'm going to kind of talk about some things as to why they would be, why they wouldn't be, and kind of my verdict by the end of this video. So we're going to go through some numbers here, and while that can kind of be boring, these are numbers that are really important indicators as to how a team has started off and where they sit among their league peers. So for Corsi for percentage, the Devils sit at 58%, second in the league. For shots for per 60, which is basically just however many shots they get per 60 in their favor, 36.92 per 60, second in the league. Shots against per 60, how many shots they're allowing per 60, they are at 24.32. First in the league. They are second in the league for shots for in their favor. First, in meaning they allow the fewest shots against per 60 in the league. Shots for percentage, therefore, at 60.28%. That is first in the league. Their goals for per 60, by the way, 3.72. Second in the league, and their goals against per 60, 2.42. Now, I am not going to say that these are the only things you could pick from here. There's a variety of things you could go through, zone entries, zone exits. You could look at a variety of things. But these are some very common stats used that are good indicators of where a team is. And if you're first or second in the league for these stats, and not just one, but multiple stats, you're probably in a good spot. On top of that, Vitek Vanacek has really been a key part of this team to start off the year. He was signed to a 3-year deal with him, had his struggles with the Washington Capitals, and was viewed as a backup goalie, probably not somebody that could ever really take over that starting role with what we had seen early on. The Devils have had their ups and downs with their starter, Mackenzie Blackwood, or has been their starter in recent years, and so they bring in Vanacek, a younger guy, maybe some competition goes on in there, and while Blackwood's stats don't look great, he has had some good games as well. There's been some injuries, but really you're looking at this thinking the Devils might have just lucked out getting Vanacek on that deal, because if he performs well this year, they have him on 2 more years after this deal. On top of that, they have 3 different players that are averaging over a point per game. Jesper Bratt, and I apologize, I've been saying his name wrong before. I thought it was Brat, but the pronunciation guide is Bratt. But Jesper has been able to average over a point per game, actually the leading scorer for his team in terms of points. And then you have, of course, Hughes, who has been very, very good, and then Nico Hischier. This is one of those things that is developing very well for them. Bratt has been a guy that's up and come and had some good moments, especially in the past year or so. Nico Hischier is a former first overall pick, a very good player, and Jack, of course, is another former first overall pick. Jack has been able to take strides and be a great player and could be one of the best young players in the league going forward. I think that'll be the verdict by the end of the year. And so you see many things. Vanacek being on a cheap deal, that's good. Blackwood possibly being good. You have a good tandem. You have plenty of top-end talent, and you have some depth. You have other guys like Dougie Hamilton, who is still viewed as a top-pairing defenseman, probably your best defenseman on most teams if he is clicking. And you think that the Devils are good. What would be the verdict to say that they are bad, or at least that we shouldn't take them seriously? Well, I would say that the biggest knock early on has been over this 10-game win streak. They have beat some teams that aren't exactly great. You look at wins over the Blue Jackets, the Senators, the Coyotes, the Canadiens. These are all teams that aren't exactly great teams. I think of Arizona, Montreal, and Columbus specifically as teams that are probably rebuild teams, teams that have their eyes on the future. The Senators are a team that I wouldn't say is atrocious by any means, but they certainly are not the team many people were hoping and expecting them to be the start of the year. But on the flip side of that, you could also say, what separates good teams from bad teams and great teams from good teams? Well, a big thing that separates good teams from bad teams is their ability to beat bad teams and then to go from there. New Jersey has shown that they can beat bad teams early on, and they have also shown that they can beat good teams. They did beat the Colorado Avalanche early this year and the Detroit Red Wings, which I know is still a up-and-coming team, but as of right now have been pretty good and are in the thick of it in the Atlantic. The Devils, in my opinion, are good. I'm not saying they are cup favorites at any point right now, but what I will say is the Devils are that good, and we should take them seriously. Why? Because if you have a season that's 82 games, and they win 10 games in a row, 13 of 14, they are probably on their way to making the playoffs. And this is a team that's got some young guys that could really be special. If all these guys continue on and they avoid the lows, that is the biggest thing. If they avoid those lows where they would have an 8-game losing streak or something like that, this team is going to make the playoffs and might even make some noise. Not a perfect roster by any means, but this team is much better than New Jersey teams of years past and already look like they are well on their way to having a better season than last year. So in my opinion, yes, the Devils should be, I guess I should say, be taken seriously, and they could be a threat to your team once playoffs come around. But what are your thoughts on this team early on? Of course, they have a lot of talent. People view them as a team that has some underrated depth and also a team that could be one of the more fun teams to watch in the coming years. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what the Devils are exactly to you, or are you still trying to gather your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night, and you go love hockey, alright? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.